At the time Joshua apportioned the land W of the Jordan, the Philistine territories were still untouched by the conquest. Jos 13. 2-3 later, however, the men of Judah did capture 3 of the main Philistine cities, Gaza, Ashkelon, and Ekron. But this was only a partial victory, for Judah could not dispossess the inhabitants of the lower plain, because they had war chariots with iron scythes. JG 1. 18-19. In the time of Judges. For years thereafter, the continuance of the Philistines and other peoples in Canaan served to test Israel's obedience to Jehovah. JG 3. 3-4 time and again they failed the test by adopting false worship. Therefore Jehovah abandoned the Israelites to their enemies, including the Philistines. JG 10. 6-8 But when they cried to him for aid, he mercifully raised up judges to deliver them. JG 2. 18 One of these judges, Shamgar, struck down 600 Philistines using a mere cattle goad. JG 3. 31 years later, as has been foretold before his birth, Samson took the lead in saving Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. JG 13. 1-5 Evidence of the extent of Philistine control early in Samson's judgeship can be seen in that, to avoid trouble, men of Judah on one occasion even delivered up Samson to them. JG 15. 9-14. The prophet Samuel witnessed oppression from the Philistines and also shared in defeating them. While he was serving at the tabernacle in Shiloh during the final part of High Priest Eli's judgeship, the Philistines struck down about 4,000 Israelites in the area of Aphek and Ebenezer. The Israelites then had the sacred ark brought to the battlefield, O textoi acute miritra longo, Philistia 633 leads, to go to them to have their agricultural implements sharpened. 1-13. 19-22 The situation was so severe that even Hebrews sided with the Philistines against fellow Israelites. 1-14. 21 Nevertheless, with Jehovah's help, Saul's first major campaign against the Philistines resulted in Israel's striking them down from Michmash to Ajalon. 1-13. 1. 14. 31. See Michmash. Later, upon recovering from this defeat, the Philistines assembled their forces to fight against Israel. The two armies took their position on opposite sides of the lower plain of Elah, in Judah. Morning and evening, for 40 days, the warrior Goliath emerged from the Philistine camp, challenging Israel to supply a man to fight him in single combat. 1-17. 1-10-16 This challenge was answered by the shepherd David, who struck Goliath to the earth with a stone from his sling and used Goliath's own sword to put him to death. 1-17. 48-51 The Israelites then pursued the fleeing Philistines, striking them down as far as the cities of Gath and Ekron. 1-17. 52-53. Thereafter David continued waging successful warfare against the Philistines. When he would return from battle, the women, in celebration of the victory, would say, Saul has struck down his thousands, and David his tens of thousands. 1-18. 5-7. See also 1-18. 25-27, 30. 19. 8. This caused Saul to become jealous of David, finally resulting in David's having to run for his life. He fled to the Philistine city of Gath. 1-18. 8, 9. 20. 33. 21. 10 There the servants of King Achish appear to have sought David's death. But by disguising his sanity, he was able to leave the city unharmed. 1-21. 10-15 Sometime thereafter David, though still pursued by Saul, saved the Judean city of Keilah from Philistine pillagers. 1-23. 1-12 A later Philistine raid in Israelite territory forced Saul to turn back temporarily from chasing David. 1-23. 27, 28. 24. 1, 2. Because of continually being hunted by Saul, David again decided to take refuge in Philistine territory. Received favorably by King Achish of Gath, David was given the city of Ziklag. 1-27. 1-6 A year or two later, When the Philistines were preparing to fight against Saul's forces, King Achish, believing that David had become a stench among his people Israel, invited him to go along. But the other Philistine Axis lords did not trust David, and at their insistence, he and his men returned to Philistia. In the ensuing conflict with Israel, the Philistines gained a decisive victory and Saul and 3 of his sons perished. 1 Sir 27. 12. 28. 1-5. 29. 1-11. 31. 1-13. 1ch10. 1-10, 13. 12. 19. When David was finally anointed as king over all Israel, the Philistines invaded the lower plain of Rephaim of Jerusalem, but suffered humiliating defeat. 2 Sir 5. 17-21. 1ch14. 8-12. The later Philistine offensive likewise ended in victory for Israel. 2 Sir 5. 22-25.